Have you ever, as a business owner, just felt that uncertainty? You know, looking at how you pay your team and wondering, is this really the best way? For them, sure, but also for, well, your bottom line.
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge question, especially in service businesses like salons.
Right. So today, we're doing a deep dive into two really common ways, booth rental and the commission model.
Hmm.
Mostly thinking about salons here.
Exactly. And this is really for you, the listener, if you're kind of grappling with this, maybe starting out, maybe thinking about a change.
Yeah, understanding the money side, the trade-offs.
Yeah,
It's crucial. We've looked at quite a bit of expert thinking on this.
we have to give you a really comprehensive picture.
So our goal today, pretty simple, really. We want to help you get the core differences straight between booth rental and commission,
And how each one might affect your profits long term.
and hopefully help you figure out which fits your business, your goals.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into it.
Okay. So at their heart, they're just fundamentally different ways of operating. Booth rental. Think of it like this. A stylist rents a space, a booth from you, for a set fee, usually monthly.
Like a mini landlord situation.
Sort of, yeah. They run their own show within your salon, set their own prices, manage their clients, keep their earnings after they pay you the rent, of course.
And for the owner, the big plus there is predictable income.
Predictable income. That's the headline for the owner, definitely. Consistent rent checks.
Got it. Okay, so that's booth rental. What about commission then? How's that different?
Commission's completely different. The stylists work for the salon, they're employees,
Okay.
and they earn a percentage of the money they bring in from their services. So if they do $100 worth of services, they get a cut of that.
And the salon owner, they cover more of the overheads, like supplies, the main rent.
Exactly. The owner usually handles the big operating costs, the salon space rent, utilities, maybe back bar supplies, marketing for the whole place, booking systems.
And setting prices too, usually,
Yeah.
or having a big say.
Often, yes. The owner sets the service menu prices, or at least guides them strongly, and they might manage the central booking. The key thing here is the salon's income is tied directly to how busy and productive those stylists are.
Right, so your success is kind of directly linked.
Very directly linked, which, creates a totally different dynamic.
Let's stick with booth rental for a sec. From the owner's view, advantages.
Hmm.
We said predictable income. Anything else?
Well, often it means less day-to-day managing of individuals. You're not as focused on tracking one stylist's performance minute by minute or their specific schedule necessarily.
Okay, potentially freeing up some time. But what are the catches, the downsides for the owner with booth rental?
Well, the big one is control. You have less control over the actual client experience.
How so?
Because each stylist is independent, their standards, their way of doing things. It might not perfectly match the brand or vibe you want for your salon.
I see. Consistency could be an issue.
It can be. And building a really tight team culture, that can be harder too. Renters are running their own separate businesses, essentially.
Makes sense.
And while the rent is steady, you don't directly profit more if the salon gets super busy. Your income doesn't scale up with that increased stylist activity in the same way.
Right, your upside is capped by the rent.
Pretty much. And you're less likely to, say, invest heavily in training one renter to boost overall salon revenue because their success primarily benefits them directly. Oh, and also, you have to think about vacancies. If a booth is empty, you're not getting that rent.
True, managing the tenancy aspect. Okay, so predictable, maybe less management hassle, but less control and capped income potential.
That's a good summary.
Okay, let's flip the coin. Commission model,
Yeah.
owner's perspective. What are the advantages pulling owners in this direction?
Control is a big one again, but this time it's an advantage. You have more control over service quality, the brand image, the whole client journey.
Because they're employees.
Yeah.
You set the standards.
Exactly. You can implement training, set protocols, ensure consistency. It also makes it easier to build a strong, unified team culture. Everyone's working towards the salon's success, ideally.
Shared goals.
Yes. And, crucially, the potential for higher profits is definitely there. As your team gets busier, does more services, the salon's revenue goes up, your income grows with theirs.
So it scales better with demand.
It does, and it makes more sense to invest in things like staff training or salon-wide marketing because that investment can directly drive more revenue for the business.
Okay, that sounds, well, geared for growth and building a strong brand. But what are the headaches, the challenges for the owner?
Well, the flip side of that scaling income is variability. Your income depends directly on how busy the salon is and how well the stylists are performing. Some months might be great, others less so.
Less predictable than fixed rent.
Much less predictable, potentially. And it just requires more active management. You're dealing with schedules, payroll, ongoing training, possibly managing inventory for supplies.
Yep.
It's more hands-on.
Right. Higher potential reward, but more work and more risk, maybe.
You could say that, yeah. It demands more direct involvement.
Okay, that covers the owner's side pretty well. Let's shift perspective now. Think about the stylist. Why would a stylist choose booth rental? What's the appeal?
Freedom, autonomy, that's the big draw.
Being your own boss.
Exactly. You control your schedule, your services, the products you use, your prices. For a stylist whose experience has their own clients already.
A loyal following.
Yes. Then booth rental can mean a higher earning potential. They keep everything after paying rent. No commission split.
So if you're established and good at the business side.
It can be very lucrative. I know stylists who specialize, build a niche, and they thrive as renters because they manage that client relationship completely.
That independence sounds great, but what are the potential pitfalls for the stylist renting a booth?
Well, that freedom comes with responsibility. Big time. You're on the hook for all your business costs. Buying your own color, your styling products, doing your own marketing to get clients, paying for your own insurance.
It's real business they're running.
It absolutely is. And if your client bookings dip, your income security isn't there in the same way. It's riskier financially.
And maybe less support.
Definitely less built-in support. You might miss the salon's marketing, bringing in new people, or a receptionist handling calls, or even just bouncing ideas off colleagues easily. It can be a bit more isolating.
Right. You're truly independent, for better or worse. Okay, so what about commission for the stylist? What makes that attractive?
Stability, often. Especially for newer stylists.
I'll say.
The income is generally more predictable week to week or month to month. Even if they're still building their client base, they're getting that percentage. There's less personal financial outlay, too.
Because the salon covers supplies and stuff.
Right. They don't have to worry as much about the business operations, the overheads. Plus, there's often access to training, maybe mentorship from senior stylists or the owner. That's huge for development.
And they benefit from the salon's reputation and marketing.
Exactly. The salon brings clients through the door, which helps them build their book faster than going it completely alone.
Sounds like a safer bet, maybe. Especially early on. But what's the downside for a stylist on commission?
Less control is the main thing. Less, say, overpricing, maybe the specific services they offer, the products they have to use. It's within the salon's structure.
And the earning potential.
It can feel capped by that commission rate. No matter how busy they are, they're still splitting the revenue. They might look at a busy booth renter next door and think, they're keeping it all.
Right, that potential ceiling. And less independence overall.
Definitely less independence than a renter. You're part of the salon system. Also, sometimes motivation can be a challenge in commission salons, especially if things are slow.
How do owners deal with that?
Some use tiered commissions, like your percentage goes up once you hit certain revenue targets. That can help incentivize.
Interesting. Okay, so we've looked at it from both angles, owner, stylist, advantages, disadvantages for both models. Now let's bring it back to the owner trying to make this call. What are the really key things they need to weigh up?
Okay, several big ones. First, what are your core goals as the owner? Are you prioritizing steady cash flow, maybe a bit more hands-off?
Predictability, less daily stress.
Yeah. Or is your goal more about building a powerful brand, really controlling the quality, maximizing growth, even if that means more direct involvement?
Vision is key then. What else?
The team you have or the team you want to build, are they experienced pros with their own following who want independence? Maybe leaning booth rental?
Or are they newer, needing support, training, a steady paycheck?
Exactly. Then commission might be a much better fit to nurture them and ensure stability for the salon too. It's about matching the model to the people.
Makes total sense. It's not just about the owner.
Yeah.
What about how much control they actually want day to day?
Crucial point. How involved do you want to be in setting service standards, shaping the team vibe, managing operations?
If you're happy letting stylists manage their own thing.
Booth rental might align well. But if you have a very specific vision for quality and culture and want to actively shape that,
Commission gives you the levers to do that.
it does. You have more direct influence. Even with booth rental, though, owners aren't totally hands-off. You still manage the facility, the overall atmosphere.
And maybe mediate if renters clash.
Potentially, yeah. Protecting the overall business reputation is still on you.
Good point. And then the bottom line financial goals.
Always key. Are you aiming for that consistent, maybe slightly lower but reliable income from rent?
Or are you willing to manage more actively, accept more income swings for the potential of higher profits as the whole team grows?
That's the trade-off. Risk versus reward tied to how much management you undertake.
This really clarifies the decision points. Now, I've heard people talk about mixing things up. Is there, like, a middle ground, a hybrid?
Yes, absolutely. Hybrid models are definitely a thing, and they're getting more attention.
How do they work?
Well, you basically blend elements from both. For instance, maybe you offer a base commission, but stylists can earn a higher percentage if they hit certain revenue goals.
Kind of like that tiered idea.
Sort of, yeah. Or maybe it's a lower booth rent, but the salon provides some shared resources like marketing support or reception that renters usually wouldn't get.
Interesting. Trying to get the best of both worlds.
That's the aim. Balancing flexibility for the stylist with some owner control and a shared interest in growing the overall business. It can be tailored.
Sounds complex, but potentially very effective if done right. Okay, so for you, listening right now, trying to figure this out for your business, what's like one concrete thing you can do
I think the most important first step is some real self-reflection.
on your own goals?
Deeply. What do you really want from this business, short term and long term? And then, crucially, talk to your team.
Or potential team members?
Yes. Have open conversations, understand what they want, what they need, their career goals, making sure the model fits both your vision and motivates your team. That's absolutely fundamental for success.
So aligning owner goals and team needs. That's the sweet spot.
Yeah,
Okay, let's just quickly recap the main points.
sounds good.
Booth rental. Steady income for the owner, maybe less daily management, but also less control over the experience and capped revenue growth tied to stylist output.
Right, commission. More owner control, potential for higher profits that scale with the team, stronger brand building, but needs more active management and income can be less predictable.
And we saw how each model offers different pros and cons for the stylist, too. Autonomy versus stability, risk versus support.
And the big takeaway really is there's no single best answer. It truly depends on your situation, your goal, your team, your market.
Exactly. It's about finding the right fit.
Which leads to maybe one last thought for you to consider. Beyond just the rent checks or the commission percentages, think about this.
Okay.
How does the model you choose, or the one you're thinking about, actually shape the identity of your business, the whole future direction?
Wow. Okay. Deeper than just the finances.
Yeah. What kind of culture does it create? Who does it attract to work with you? What's the long-term story you're building for your salon? Well, it's a bigger decision than it might seem at first glance.